Hey there, it's Jenny. Just a reminder, if you enjoy this video, please leave me a thumbs up and make sure you are subscribed. This is another week in my memory planner. You got to look at last week. It was super fun. This week I am using the Heidi Swap Stop the Blur kit. I will link it up for you below in case you are not familiar. What I'm going to say about this week is that it is light on the decor. I have more photos than I think I have maybe ever had without having an insert. I feel like I've been saying that a lot lately. Yeah, I got a lot of photos. So I think that we have 12, if I'm not mistaken, and they are trimmed to about 1.5 inches wide by 2 inches tall, give or take, since these are digital prints, which are not true 4x6. I'm just going to trim them apart. I use the Pick Frame app to create the collages, and then I print them on my Canon selfie printer. I've been using the selfie printer for about 11 years, not the same one. I think I'm on my third one. But it is so easy to use, so wonderful, inexpensive, and gives me the flexibility and the convenience that I need in order to get these projects finished. So I started Project Life in 2011. And I bought my Canon selfie to help me with that, and I've just never stopped using it since. The only time I don't use it is when I use photos that are larger than 4x6, which is not very often, and in that case, I use my home printer. And I don't really care about the quality. My home printer does a perfectly lovely job. Is it glorious? No, of course not, but it's really not that big of a deal to me. All right, so I am arranging and adhering the photos. There is a method to the madness. For example, Tuesday has 3 photos. I wanted to include all 3. Now, I could have gotten it down to 2 for sure, but didn't want to. On Saturday, I also have 3 photos. So I've split those up. I put 2 of my son pitching right next to each other, all lined up very nicely, and then another one of him in the field over on the left-hand side, and it's also horizontal. And now, one of my ideas, besides using the kit, you can see the kit right there. I'm pulling out the contents, showing you the little pieces and bits, is that I'm going to use that big number stamp that I finally broke down and bought. I've had the solid one for a really long time, but I finally bought the outline because I like the solid one so much. So I'm going to stamp the number 5 to signify the month of May, and I'm using the outline because, again, there are so many photos. I just want it to be visually light. I don't want it to just be a huge suck. Sounds weird, doesn't it? Now there's these little tabs. They're super cute. They're a little ambiguous, if you want to be perfectly honest. I'm going to use it this way. I'm going to use it to map my photo. That's not where it'll end, but it's where it ends for right now. I have a little bit of the attention span of an animal, a squirrel. Like I see something else, I've got to move on to that. So oftentimes you'll see that, and that was definitely going on here this week. It doesn't happen every week, but this week it did. Now I'm going to use the little banner, and I'm using my Tombow clear glue to adhere that to the page. This is the perfect application for this glue because the banner is tiny. It's so small. My tape runner, not good for this. And the glue, if you get any excess, which you would try not to do because you don't want to warp the page, but it's clear, so it's going to dry clear, no big deal. I'm going to link it up for you below. I love it. It's such a great staple in my arsenal. I don't have any problems with it whatsoever. All right, now this kit I bought to go along with the kit. There are these little additional mini books that come in these little plastic sleeves, and the little plastic sleeves have adhesive on the back. And I absolutely want to use one this week. My oldest son is in Ireland for 3 weeks for a study abroad program, and I want to include some of the photos he's been sending. I will create an entire mini album for him about this experience, but I thought it was fun to have them in here as well, like week by week. So I'm adhering the little plastic sleeve and then adhering that little camera on top of the front of the craft album. So it sort of signifies like, oh, open me up more photos inside, or at least that's what I'm hoping it says. Does it say that to you? Okay, so these big die cuts come in these little vellum envelopes, and they're super cute, but I don't really want the vellum envelope, so I'm just going to adhere this little peace sign over by the 5 and the banner, and I love this combination. So you can see we have two huge clusters of embellishments. We've got the mini book, which is serving as an embellishment because it's got that giant camera. I could have decorated this more, absolutely, 100%. I just don't want to. Like, I want it to be simple because as you can see, there is already a lot going on. Now, up in the upper right-hand corner, I'm going to stamp this currently, and this stamp and the loving this that I'm going to use in a minute are stamps from the memory planner class that I am teaching at Cocoa Daisy. I designed this stamp set along with Rachel Newman, who is a good friend of mine, the life facilitator. If you follow her, Rachel and I have been friends for many years. We have met many times in person. We just are so similar and get along great. But anyway, we designed this stamp set to go along with this memory planner class that we are teaching. And you can only get the stamp set when you take the class. It's not available separately. And there's actually only a handful left as I am talking about this. So if you think you like the stamp set, I would hurry up and get it because we are almost out. I will link you up below. So I layered those together, the currently loving this. I love how the really blocky, modern currently goes with the scripty loving this. And then I used that close to my heart ink. It just goes really well. Like this color palette from this kit has a wide variety of colors in it that are fun to use. And I definitely really am enjoying mixing and matching. And speaking of mixing and matching, on the date stickers, I haven't used these banners yet. Like, I mean, maybe like once or twice or something, but the colors, I was looking for this sort of salmon-y color to go with the rest of the layout, and this was the only one I had left in these dates, so I'm using it. And actually, I kind of love that because it forces me out of my comfort zone, which is the circles. So it's different, and I like it. I mean, do I love it? Probably not, but I really do like it, so it works out okay. I don't think you have to love, love, love everything. I think that as long as you're happy with the end result, I think that's what matters. All right, so now I'm going to figure out what Zig Clean Color dot marker that I want to use with this week. I have a pack, I think it's 10 maybe? I'm not 100% sure, it might be 12. So I mean, I've got some colors to choose from, but I don't have like the entire rainbow to choose from. So I've got to choose one. I end up going with the brown. For some reason, I felt like that just sort of coordinated the best. Like, is it perfect? No, there's no perfect match for this brown in this kit, but I like it nonetheless. So now I'm writing in the plans and the activities and the things that we had going on this week. And it really was a big week. We had a 3-day baseball tournament. We had my son's open house at school. My oldest son is in Ireland. My middle son, I don't think he had anything specifically going on this week. My husband plays volleyball in our neighborhood with a bunch of people that live in our neighborhood, and that is back now that it's warmer. So I really definitely wanted to document that because it's like crazy fun. I absolutely love it. I documented gas, the price of gas this week because, you know, if you drive a car, you're aware that gas prices are high. So just lots of stuff that I wanted to. Oh, Friday flag. So my son's school, the last Friday of the month, like the whole school comes together and they do this outside thing. This is my son's last Friday flag ever because he's leaving his school. That is a K through 8. So they've been there for 9 years. And actually my family has been at this school since 2006 with my oldest son. So it was the very last Friday flag for any of my children at this school. So I documented that as well. And yeah, so I mean, a big week, right? I mean, I think you get it. It was a big one, so that's why it's so full. But I just created that last little cluster, kind of mimicking the text from the Currently Love This, like the block letters. Then with the script, I did the same thing when I wrote Friday Flag as well. Now, I would have loved to have added some journaling this week. I'm not entirely sure I felt like it needed it. Honestly, I could have created some flip ups or flip outs or, you know, done some little pull out thing or something with some journaling, but it's all right. I think that most of the photos are pretty self explanatory. And so there was nothing that really desperately needed to be documented. And if you're saying, oh, what about that Friday flag story? Honestly, I'll probably do a scrapbook page about that Friday flag. So it's cool. It'll get told. And then the mini book, those are sort of my son's stories. I sort of need his input for those. So yeah, we'll probably do that in his mini album that I'll do regarding this subject. So now I'm adding little word stickers right there to my dog. How cute is that? And now I want to add a little bit of stamping as well. I'm not going to lie, I don't love the Heidi Swap stamps that come in the kit. They are acrylic stamps and they just don't stamp that well. So yes, they're usable. Absolutely. And like the little hearts, they're adorable. And I love creating that like floating up to the sky like look with those stamps. So that did really turn out cute. And the words are fun, although I don't love using other people's handwriting in my planners or in my projects. I mean, it's okay, it's fine, but I prefer using just fonts or those types of things. So I did add those stamped elements though, and I wish that she would include stamps that were created in the United States so that they were made out of photopolymer so that they were a little bit easier to use. All right, so now I'm going to trim these photos down ever so slightly smaller, like 2.75 by 3.75, just so I can adhere them inside the little mini book. And just a handful. I mean, again, like I said, I will include lots of them in a mini album for him regarding his trip. Now I'm also going to use a corner rounder so that I can round the edges of two of the corners so they match the inside of the little mini book and it all comes together so perfectly. Now, like I said, when he returns, I will add little words like, oh, this is the long haul at the Trinity College Library, or this is him trying on a, this specific type of hat, or this is him on the Erin Islands, or whatever the case may be. But I want his input for how I should document these things. But I won't tell a ton of stories in here because, again, it's really just sort of an overview, like a glance at the week, and especially because I do other memory keeping projects. So that is it for me this week. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comment box below and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much and make it a great day.